correspondence?
You have your list with everything that I have, so if anyone
Do we-
wants to read anything, I always carry it with me.
Okay.
But then I just sort of itemize.
Do you want
all
us
the mail.
to sign permits? Do we have permits to sign?
We do?
Do we read the letter from
I would
the
wait till-
abutters or wait till you get to them? Okay.
So I'll hold the one for George Street, but these are the straightforward ones for Jim.
Ooh.
Could you sign in, please?
What's going on here?
I don't know.
Are your people sign in? Because this is a dancing area. So, are you here for a purpose? Not because I'm famous, right? Just wanted to make sure.
You're
Okay.
here for Board of Health, right?
You're for the Board of Health? Okay.
We don't usually get such a big crowd.
Audience.
What's happening? What are we writing on these, no
No
finished
finished
attic?
attic, yeah, with the restriction.
Yeah.
Get in trouble, man. Just to get others in trouble.
Hey, you didn't sign this.
I don't see that.
You didn't sign that one.
I know, I was reading that one because that's in my old house.
Oh.
I know where they put,
Gotcha.
these ones on Bluebird were on a slab, right?
Yeah.
I think
I
so.
think we were
Oh,
trying to
no, it
figure.
says no finished basement.
No
Allowed.
finish- But I thought it was a slab, so there couldn't be there's no basement
Right.
I
anyway.
don't remember.
Yeah.
I'd imagine they're doing basements.
Usually, yeah. Sign that.
I'm just rereading your email that you sent today. Okay, the August meetings.
Are
Are you gonna be
there any
away?
member Comments?
When are you gonna be away?
Oh, so for our next meeting in August,
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
did everybody see that email today?
No,
I did.
I didn't.
So, do we want to make the meeting, I can't make the
20th?
20th or the one before that. So do we want to make it the 27th? Or you got,
What day is gonna be the 27th?
Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday.
Tuesday,
Last
but only one meeting next
Because
month.
We don't have much coming up, so
Okay.
my email had said,
Okay.
Shirley told me that it's pretty frequent that we only do one meeting in, thank you.
Okay,
In August, so if we can pick a day,
no problem.
then,
If something comes up, I'll come in, they call me. Okay.
so August 27th.
okay. So our next Board of Health meeting will be August 27th on a Tuesday.
And you'll be back?
Mhm.
Yes.
Do you want to do it the 20th?
Yeah, because, and Jim will be away for the next 3 weeks.
Oh, right,
so
he
that-
gets home
he
the
gets
20th
home.
or something,
Yeah, so that way,
So it's not the 13th, not the,
right?
he gets back the 20th, so that way it gives time for him to
get
Catch
caught
up.
up.
reference for anything.
Gotta put it in here, otherwise.
Right, is-
Oh, okay. When I go home, I put it in.
Good
So
point.
August 27th will be our next meeting.
Correct. Only one meeting.
Only one meeting for the month.
Watching a bunny for like the whole month.
You're such a good friend.
I don't think it requires that much work. Just making sure it has water and food fed every day.
Okay, so we're just waiting for 7:10.
Sign permit, okay. Member comments? Have any member comments?
Member comments? Any other
You got any
issues we
member
need to
comments?
talk about? Besides meetings and,
Not at this time.
okay.
You got
You saw,
anything?
well, you guys saw all the marijuana discussion has been tabled again to the fall, so.
That's why they're here. I just let you know, I don't care about that stuff. And there's a lot of children should not even go nearby that stuff, unless they're about 50 years old, not 18 or 21, whatever. That's, what's gonna be next? They're trying now, you know what they're trying to, there's a bill at the State House. If you are too old, they have your permission, they give you a couple of pills, and they make you fall asleep. They're trying to be God. They're trying to eliminate you, your grandfather, grandmother, just because they're a little older. That's why everybody asks me how old I am. It's not your business. I'm only 47. Get out of here. Think about it. It's all business.
Okay.
That's my comment.
What else?
Set up if you want, so you can start right away. We just have to wait for the 7th.
I guess we don't need 10 minutes for,
I guess, well, sometimes you go over, but I'll shorten it for next month.
yeah.
She's precise, she's precise. Leave it alone. You got another 5 minutes.
I know.
I love that.
Yeah, that's neat, huh?
The
Yeah,
easel. yeah.
Easel.
You're the engineer, right? Grady?
Yep.
What you got? You got your reinforced over there?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
No. Okay.
3 minutes,
3?
according to Apple.
I was gonna go by that.
Oh, go ahead, you can go by that. Mary Cole. Okay. Okay.
Okay, 19 George Street, why don't we go ahead with this?
So my name is Rob Carlazon, I'm with Grady Consulting. This is a septic repair plan for 19 George Street. So a brief overview of this. This is a lot with an existing dwelling on it. There's currently an existing septic system out in the backyard. The plan is to remove the existing system and install a 1,500-gallon, 2-compartment septic tank, 1,500-gallon monolithic pump chamber, D-box, and a leaching field made up of infiltrator, quick force standard chambers. All the components are located out in the backyard. We also have a proposed poly barrier to meet the breakout elevations. This system is up out of the ground due to high groundwater, so we do have proposed grading all around the system, and we also have proposed swales all around the system for stormwater runoff, and to keep all stormwater on site and drain towards the street in the front yard. So the reason we're here, we're asking for 3 local upgrades. The first one is a separation reduction from the bottom of the system to the groundwater table from 4 feet to 3 feet. The second one is the use of a sieve analysis in lieu of a standard perk test. Basically, we had to do that because at the time of the perk test, groundwater was too high to do a test. And the third local upgrade is the reduction of the requirement of a 12-inch separation between the inlet and outlet tees and high groundwater. So we're just asking for approval for those.
Do you have a detail of that? Tees?
Basically, it's just
Okay.
the inlet and outlet pipes.
Yeah.
We just have the elevation shown, and you just compare that to the
Okay.
groundwater elevation. So we have a groundwater elevation of 100.6, and the lowest pipe is 101.23.
And the leach field is about 3 feet.
Yep, the leaching field is 3 feet above the groundwater table.
Would you please explain to people they don't know what it means, so they have any idea?
Yep. So based on the state Title V or septic regulations, when we design these leaching fields, we have to maintain a vertical separation between the high groundwater table and the bottom of the leaching field. So the Title V regulation, in this case, we have to maintain 4 feet. Because we had very high groundwater, I think we had groundwater
18.
18 inches and 24 inches. This system is going to be up out of the ground.
How much higher than what it is now?
I think we had, let's see, we got 105, 6. I think we're going to be about close to 3 feet up out of the ground. And that is after we asked for a 1 foot reduction, just going off the state rule, or the state local upgrade. So that's kind of what
Would you
that is.
explain kindly, when you built the septic system, they put a boots, rubber boots, okay, on the septic system? Would you explain to them so they have an idea why you do that?
Are you talking about
On
the,
the inlets and outlets.
oh, the inlets and outlets? Yep, so basically, we asked for a separation reduction between the bottom of the inlet and outlet pipes to the high groundwater table. So going back to Title V, the state rules, you're supposed to maintain a 12-inch minimum, vertical minimum, between the bottom of any pipes and the high groundwater table. So we asked for a reduction. This was kind of the only thing we could do to make this system work. So we asked for a reduction from 12 inches down to about, call it like 6 or 7 inches. So that's that local upgrade.
Thank you.
They contaminate the groundwater in some way, under different
Excuse me, sir.
climate conditions?
Excuse me, you have to wait for your
Yep.
turn.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Yeah. Will you left your arm and then we'll let you?
Yep.
I'm sorry to.
Do you have any comments, Kevin? Any questions?
What did the sieve analysis come back as?
It came back as, it was Class 2, sandy loam.
28?
What's that?
28? How many minutes per inch?
Oh, the way they do sieves, that ends up being about 30 minutes.
30?
Yeah. It's,
Would you also explain to the gentleman why he's here? Because he's concerned about the water runoff? Because, okay? All right. Because they're not level, the house is here, and their neighbor's down.
Yep.
Would you make him feel better?
okay. So like I sort of explained before, the leaching field's gonna be up. We're just meeting the state regulations, state rules on that. So with that, we've sort of taken, or we've proposed swales sort of all around the system. So in that way, water will kind of, when it rains, it'll come down on the system and sort of drain off the system and into these swales. So we have them sort of kind of marked out here. They'll kind of run around sort of a curved line. I don't know if you can see it too.
Are you familiar what a swale is?
Don't tell us.
Could you explain?
I guess in the simplest terms, it's sort of like a ditch, sort of a slight ditch where water will drain to the low spot. It'll be sort of like a long trench, sort of all the way around the system as shown in there. And it'll sort of direct water, well, it will keep water from running off of our property and to the neighbors.
When you put a swell, would you be kind enough to go just a little deeper because of the downhill?
Mhm.
And put a lot of stone there so retain the water instead of the flush right out?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so they,
Do it.
they can feel secure. Why, the reason they're here, I think they're very concerned because you're building up and the water is gonna go down on property, in their property. So that's very important for a neighbor to find out what's going on.
Are there abutters all the way around?
Yes, we have 15 George Street, there's 14 Andrea Street, 18 Andrea Street, 22 Andrea Street, and 23 George Street.
Are those people all notified?
Yes, they were.
In which house are you?
We're 15.
You're 15.
We're a little lower than the others when it comes down the hill.
Just to the right.
Yeah.
You're to the right
Yeah.
of 19.
As you face the house, you're on the right-hand side?
Yes.
So are you disturbing that tree or the fence?
Not the fence, you better not.
Nope, this fence will remain in place.
How far are you going to be from the fence?
So the fence is just about the property line, and the leaching field is gonna be about 30 feet from the property line and
30
fence.
feet?
Yep.
Excuse me. We're going to give you a chance to talk at the end,
I'm sorry.
okay? So it's his chance right now, and
I just have one more comment.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go
me
ahead.
too.
Curious as to why you're not designing a Presby or a geomat to take advantage of the technology given the site constraints with the high groundwater and the tight lot.
Yep.
Because, I mean, you could go for a 2-foot with a Presby and it's treated.
Yep, so the Presby, it's obviously, it's more expensive.
Not really.
It's, well,
Not really.
yeah. I mean, we don't, we don't want to do that only because we don't want to reduce, we don't like going to 2-foot reduction to groundwater if we don't have to.
But it's treated, and you solve a lot of problems.
I mean, it's a simpler system here. It's got sort of what our client wanted as well. So,
Hey, Gino, do you have any questions?
Well, he has all the criteria, so that means he's, according to our regulation, he feels that he has no problem. The only time they do like the Presby is because,
Well, there should be Presbys in every single lot.
I understand, I know you like Presby, but so far, the way they're gonna build it, the neighbors have no problem. The leach field is big enough, and the ground is gonna absorb.
You know what this is going to look like.
Huh?
You know what it's going to look like.
Yeah, I know. We have built them, I know. I say that it's okay. If they have any problem, in the event it's gonna be a problem, when they build it, they're gonna say, well, maybe we can do it differently. You never know. Sometimes they change their mind. The question is, right now, he's got legality, and he's doing according to our regulation. Only thing he needs is the
3 variances. That's it.
You know?
Okay, Lisa, do you have any comments?
You've got 10 feet to the property lines on all the sides, it looks like? 10 feet minimum?
yes, and that's actually just to the swale. We actually have even further away from the actual leaching field. We have 21.9 feet, 22.4 feet, and 30.1 feet.
Okay. Any other abutters here tonight, or is it?
Is
okay.
the owner's not here?
Client here?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, somebody want to read Jim's comments?
Go ahead.
I'll do it, yep. So 19 George Street, given the height of the seasonal high water table, the existing system is in failure. Soil testing revealed a high seasonal water table of 18 inches, and for this reason, a perk test could not be conducted. The site has a number of constraints to the design of a septic system in full compliance with Title V and your regulations, water table, high perk rate, and limit lot size, or lot area. Since the site is relatively flat, the groundwater reduction and the use of barrier will help the applicant minimize grade changes that might contribute to surface runoff into abutting lots. I'm reading the right notes, right?
Yes.
His updated notes, okay. The area served by town water and proposed leaching area will be 3 feet above the seasonal high water table. I believe the proposed design is a reasonable solution, and I don't have a problem with the request. The Board of Health received a letter from the abutter at 15 George Street.
Maybe we should read their letter before you read Jim's letter.
Okay.
About their letter.
So can we segue into your letter?
I'm sorry about that. We should have read your comments first.
They can respond.
Do you want to do that, Kevin?
Sure. Comments on proposed disposal works construction at 19 George Street, Littleton, Massachusetts. We, the abutters at 15 George Street, note that the house at 19 George Street was originally a one-story house. Consequently, a second story has been added. It needs to be ascertained whether the present septic system has been modified to accommodate enhanced potential usage. In the spring, we noticed drainage with a septic odor from 19 George Street into our backyard, which has a lower elevation than that of 19 George Street. Local upgrade requests. Item 1. The reduction in separation between the bottom of soil absorption system and high groundwater elevation would reduce the absorption efficiency of the septic system and lead to a worsening of the spring spillage into our backyard, as mentioned above. Item 2. Sieve test is not acceptable as it does not truly reflect the actual drainage condition, and, as mentioned above, a drainage problem into our backyard exists. Item 3, the reduction in the separation between the outlet and inlet tees and high groundwater could lead to groundwater entering the system and sewage getting into the groundwater. Since we have experienced flow from 19 George Street into our backyard, this is not acceptable to us. In regard to an impervious barrier, we refer to MA guidelines for design and installation of impervious barriers and slope stabilization for Title V systems. Plastic membrane barriers shall be 1. Of sufficient tensile strength to withstand perforation, including cracking, tearing, and breaking. Number 2, at least 40 mils in thickness and have significant durability and resistance to the expected temperature and moisture conditions. And number 3, installed without holes or gaps, so
Perforations? maybe?
perforations do not develop after installations. We would require a 60 mil barrier based on having experienced seepage from 19 George Street. Paul Rothwell and Natalie Rothwell, July 23rd.
Can you give them a comment? Now, you understand why the abutter is concerned, so before you do anything else, because it may rain again, that way they feel better, make sure those walls are built primary. Anything else? There's not, after you do the leach field and everything, okay? Build
So,
those,
can I
make a
finish,
little deeper, put a lot of stone there.
Yeah, let's finish
Gino,
Jim's
let's finish Jim's comments. So the Board of Health received a letter from the abutter at 15 George Street, and I have the following response to the concerns raised. There is no previous septic system permit in the file to determine the number of bedrooms in the house, so I generally use the assessor's records, and their records indicate 4 bedrooms. In my conversations with the engineer, we've discussed the need to grade the site to minimize the potential for surface runoff on the abutting lot, but it is very difficult in the area of high groundwater. This is why the applicant is requesting a groundwater reduction and barrier approvals. Item number 1, the proposed leach field will be placed 3 feet above the seasonal high water table and be installed in pervious sand. It is designed for a high perk rate, so I don't believe there should be a problem with absorption. Item 2, the high groundwater situation, the Title V allows for the use of sieve analysis to determine a perk rate. I believe the sieve analysis for the site is sized the system appropriately. Item 3, the reduction of the groundwater offset to the outlet inverts of the tank is unavoidable given the height of the seasonal high water table. The newer tanks have rubber boots / collars built into the tanks to exclude groundwater. To be safe, you could make granting this proposal conditional on using a tank with rubber boots installed. The barrier meets Title V, and I believe a 60 mil barrier would be unnecessary. What's the?
Does that address all your questions?
Right.
What's that?
Does that address all your questions? Does that address all your questions?
Yeah, I think it does, yeah.
Do you have any other
Very good.
questions?
Not this time.
Anybody else?
I will make sure that everything's done right.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the main thing I'm interested in is the fact they put a upper story on the place.
I understand.
And therefore, the capacity of this renovation here has to reflect the fact that there's more bedrooms.
Well, we're gonna
More-
see,
more
we're
people
gonna
are
see
gonna
on the
be in the
permit,
house.
just
Huh?
when we sign the permit, we'll make sure it just says 4 bedrooms, like it's been assessed at.
It's 4 bedrooms?
That's what it's been assessed at.
Okay, well, I
Yeah.
think that's probably fair, because I know, the downstairs, you can get 3, but it's squeezing, so they must have 2 down, 2 up, so that's fine. That makes sense, 4 bedrooms. I agree with that.
Okay.
Huh? You agree with that?
Is it a new construction, or is it,
So it says it's designed for 4 bedrooms, that's...
is it,
No.
they're added a,
That's
You're
a-
replacing.
Just
It
Right,
has-
the-
A long time ago, they did an addition.
oh,
It
okay,
was built
the
in
second floor.
56, if I may say.
Yeah,
It was,
but the
built
second
up
floor was-
probably About 30 years ago.
Okay.
And when they built up, I thought there were 3 bedrooms upstairs and a bathroom. And at the
Mhm.
time, there were 3 bedrooms downstairs and a bathroom. So they must have enlarged one of the rooms, that's all I can think.
Mhm. Yeah.
There's been work being done there the last 6 months.
Do we have the permit? Does it
We
say
do.
4
It
bedrooms?
just says existing house, it doesn't specify.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, does someone want to make a motion?
I make a motion to accept all the variance that she requests. You want to add anything?
No.
Do we want to, Jim said that we could, what did he say? Conditional on using a tank with rubber boots,
Right.
I'd like to see a Presby designed.
I know, I know.
but the client probably just, wants to,
Move on
I know,
and leave us stuck with this.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
That's
how it works. Down the road.
Mm-hmm. Okay, is there a second motion, or?
I'd like to add the condition of using, like what Jim says, approval condition on using a tank with rubber boots installed. Is that in
Yeah.
your plan?
Yep.
That's what I asked him before.
Okay. And then the abutters requested a 60 mil barrier, but Jim says that's not necessary. Okay. Okay.
Okay, so all in favor for the
think you have to
permit on 19 George Street?
I'll second it. I think
Oh, didn't you?
I made a motion.
Gino made a motion. I didn't second it yet.
Okay, sorry.
All in favor?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Okay.
3-1.
Did you say yes?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 3-1.
I just had blood drawn the other day.
Just promise. to
Thank you
do
so
the-
much for all the girls. I missed you.
So, are you still working there? I saw Donna. She popped in yesterday.
Donna?
Yeah.
How's she doing?
She looked great.
Who else is with her? Was she by herself?
She was by herself. Her husband was having something done. We're not-
It's the great
we're on
people that used to come in. The nicest people, the most giving people I've ever worked with.
Yeah.
You guys are great.
Thank you.
No, I gave.
I know, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay,
thanking
no.
you. Yes, it's appreciated.
Thank
So
you.
they're all set.
Yes.
Yeah, you're all set.
Is the rest of the party?
Yes,
can
you
stay.
do. You can stay if you want.
Okay, so now we are going to move to 7:20 to the tobacco discussion, which because I got one too.
Okay. That's one, something that's.
Thank you.
Okay. Go.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you?
I'm DJ Wilson. I'm the Tobacco Control Director of Mass Municipal Association. I work with Joan Hamlet, but she is on vacation, so she's not here tonight. So I'm just going to give you an update as to what's happening around the state on the the shorthand we call the flavor policy. And you'll see that this is the new list. We have 160 cities and towns out of 351. A full 2/3 of the state live in cities and towns that have at least the original flavor policy. I'll use that term because that's what you're contemplating. In a minute, I'll tell you about the lawsuits that are happening not on the original flavor policy. At the last meeting, I believe it was at the last meeting, you asked what was happening in abutting towns to Joan, and Joan did, I believe, the only town that had not done anything. Do you abut Harvard?
Yeah.
Harvard has since passed the original policy plus, and I'll get to that. So the only one that's abutting you that has not acted is Acton. Joan did call them, and I think she kind of prompted them into action, and they will have a hearing on September 23rd, their Board of Health. So the original policy is the one that was federally court tested and approved by the U.S. Court of Appeals based on a Providence ordinance, and these 160 have at least that. You'll see there are some towns that are underlined, and those towns have gone ahead and unexempted the flavors of mint, menthol, and wintergreen, and they now include them as flavors, whereas the 2009 federal law and the Providence ordinance exempted them. So you may have heard that there are lawsuits out there against 7 towns. 6 of these towns have to do with that unexemption. The 7th has nothing to do with what you're contemplating. All right?
So I think this checklist for policy decisions that we have never discussed or had a chance to meet and talk about.
Okay.
And I think we need to go down all of those and make sure that I guess we have to pick yes, no.
Okay. I can quickly go through. Would you like me to do that?
Sure.
Okay. So the expanded definition of tobacco products we were using for a long time. It's this.
I had that.
For a long time, we just used a tobacco products definition that we would all know: cigar, smokeless, cigar, spit, chew. The expanded definition also includes anything that can be aerosolized or vaporized, so that includes e-cigarettes. And this is now the substantially so the definition that is in the new state law that went into effect at the end of the last calendar year. The second is including a cessation sign requirement. The state still runs a toll-free line for smokers who wish to quit. And so this mandates that every one of your tobacco sales permit holders needs to hang up that sign. The sign is offered to cities and towns free of charge from the state's tobacco clearinghouse. The third is minimum cigar pricing. That Providence case I was talking about, the same time that they were doing that with a federal grant, Boston had the same kind of federal grant, and they did cigar minimum pricing, where they determined that $2.50 was a good price for a single cigar, that they would slow down kids' access to them, the ability to buy them. We know that everybody's price sensitive when it comes to tobacco, but especially so youth. So our current policy says $2.50, a minimum price of $2.50 for a single cigar, and at least $5 for a multi-pack. This is not a tax. The money stays with the retailer, the extra money. Number 5 is for repeat offenders who caught in three sales within your tolling period.
Number 4, no permit renewal.
You already have.
Okay. So it's the blue things that we need to make a
Correct.
decision on. Okay.
Number 6 is we have over 100 cities and towns that cap the number of permits they give out. So a simple cap would say, I don't know how many permits you have now.
7 or 9?
Okay, well, I'll just use 7 as a number. So you'd cap at 7 if you felt confident that no new retailer was coming to the town in the near future, or you could add one if you wanted to. But we do have towns that have an advanced cap that says no waiting list, and you'll just cap yourself at whatever that maximum number is. And then if someone were to close up shop and retire to Florida, the number would go down. Number 7 is no new retailers within 500 feet of a school. So this only has to do with new retailers, not current retailers. And a current retailer could sell their business if they happen to be located within 500 feet of a school, and the buyer would be able to still use that permit. So it's not meant to kneecap the existing retail owner who's trying to sell their business.
So this is a new regulation.
Yeah, it would be. The same thing with number 8, is that it's only no new retailers within, and we've been using 500 feet, John left that empty, within an existing permit. So they're all not bunched together and causing each other to have price wars endlessly, which we don't like to see.
Did we talk about 500 feet last time when we went through these?
Yeah.
500 feet.
Yeah, we had
Okay.
500 feet down.
Okay, very good. The first town to do this was maybe Townsend? Not far from here, because they had a strip mall that had like 3 of their 4 permit holders all in the same strip mall, and they were trying to not have all of them in one place.
Okay.
Then number 9 is that restriction on flavor products that I talked to you about. So you, what is in the sample regulation is the original one. If you want to entertain exempting mint, menthol, and wintergreen, we can talk further about how to time that. So you can kind of sit back and watch the lawsuits play themselves out. Number 11 is banning blunt wraps. So blunt wraps is a sheet of reconstituted tobacco. It's almost always flavored and almost always used to make a marijuana joint. The city of Boston was the first to do this, and they got sued. And it went up to the state's Supreme Judicial Court, and Boston won. So this is a very legal policy to do. And it's usually favored by police chiefs because they know that this is a favorite product for kids to use in order to smoke marijuana. 16 years ago, we had this surge of retailers buying this $30,000 machine that could make a carton of cigarettes for like 16 to 25 bucks. The customer would go up to the clerk, buy a bag of tobacco, a box of tubes, put the tubes in one slot, the tobacco in the top.
And make it.
So it was fraught with other problems, right? You didn't know what people were really putting in there was sanitary code issues. Anyways, somebody in the tobacco industry got it into a federal transportation bill rider, and so they were deleted except for with an exemption for private clubs. We saw a guy who was from Winchester trying to open these private roll-your-own clubs. In Malden, where I live, Saugus, the police had to chain the front door. So we still like that cities and towns do this, just so there's no exemption. And actually, this is business friendly, because if you're a retailer, you don't want to see someone next to you having the ability to have something who can make a carton for $20. When a carton of Marlboros, by the way, goes for about $100.
A carton goes for $100?
17 is on this list, but actually the new state law takes care of it. So by state law, no pharmacy can sell tobacco or vape products anymore. 18, it's the same theory, but it was for educational institutions, so like college bookstores. We've seen like a chiropractor in Boston that was selling tobacco. Like we saw some really weird things. So this says if you provide, I'm sorry, chiropractor would have been under healthcare. So educational, it could be haircutting school. So it's just saying that if you're teaching kids, you can't sell tobacco. And then lastly, number 22, she has shall in blue. So I'll explain what that means, and it's just you've been a funded program maybe since the beginning, have you?
I don't know.
Okay. So for mature programs, we kind of like get away from the if you get caught, you may get a $100 fine, you may get a suspension. We kind of move it up to shall, just saying it's clear. If they come before you and they think that they were wrong, they can come before you for a hearing, prove to you that a sale did not take place. Yes, no. So we're just trying to have, and also equity amongst dealing with all the retailers the same way.
Sometimes happen without even the owner know what's going on, and sometimes you have to.
They are responsible.
No, I know, but.
They are always responsible. Their name is on the permit. They are just selling an adult-only
I
product.
think who's responsible is the individual that does, without the owner's
The owner can do
permission.
as they see fit. with
And
that employee.
you should just fire him and there'll be
It's
it.
their business decision, it has nothing to do with the
I know,
town. Okay, so I blasted through those. If you have any questions, I certainly can answer them.
Okay, do we want to discuss these and go through them, and do you want to vote on things tonight?
Oh, no. I don't think
I
we
think it's
should.
all pretty clear. We've been over this a couple times now.
Yeah, we have.
We could just wrap it
Yeah,
up.
we have a lot of people here that might want to say a few things.
Okay. So I guess we
So
should.
how do we
open it up
start?
to,
Take comments.
Take some comments. DJ, you're going to be here to answer questions, right? Okay.
How do we want to start this? Somebody-
Yeah, come on up.
Yeah.
I am Mark Foss. We're Fletcher Tilton in Worcester. I represent the Coalition for Responsible Retailing industry group for convenience stores that try to have some input in the process of regulating these regulations and try to minimize the harm to their business and to accomplish the actual goals of the tobacco regulations in the first place of keeping them out of their hands, keeping harmful products out of.
So they will go to every individual that wants to have it. If he has a store, sells tobacco, he can sell anything he wants? You know what I mean? He sell it to people over 21.
Yeah, that's the general theory is that the convenience store should be
They will
left
sell.
alone. The regulations
Right.
as they're enforced
Right.
now with the enforcement procedures and mechanisms.
Those
that-
flavor can be sold any place, there, gas station.
It's subject to permitting and the
Right,
caps that you're
right,
talking about. I
right.
mean, we're not necessarily crazy about the caps, but we understand the logic behind it. But the first response is that the approach should be based on enforcement. You know, you have regulations enforced now to keep products that are limited to people that are 21 and older out of hands of minors, and enforce those provisions in a way that doesn't impact the livelihoods of convenience store owners,
Oh, yeah.
hardworking people. I mean, that
We have to protect those people, you know, I'm saying.
protect which, the business owners?
The owner are there to conduct business.
Yes.
And if you have somebody working for them and they say, okay, you're 19, okay, don't tell anybody, here it is. And, you know, they get caught, then what do we do? Should we punish the owner, or should we just punish the individual that sells it?
We recognize that that the owner has a problem there. You know, I mean, we're not arguing that there shouldn't be consequences to sales to minors. That's not what we're here. And I want to make clear that we're not here arguing that this is a healthy product.
It
I
isn't.
mean, it is, you know, I'm not here to argue that.
Even the cigarette's
You know.
not healthy.
And
You're
there's a
here
lot-
for the rights of,
Yes.
you're here for the rights of
And
the
there's a variety of
merchant.
issues.
The
The
retail.
merchants, and there's, the document I provided is an affidavit of Michael Siegel, who's an expert witness in some of the litigation that you probably heard about. A longtime tobacco control advocate, Yale Medical School graduate, testified against the tobacco companies in 8 lawsuits. He's not a friend of Big Tobacco. He's not in Big Tobacco's pocket. And I think that with the affidavit, if you read through it, is that some of the regulations that are proposed, and they're generally consistent with a few variations in the various towns, isn't the way to approach the problem of trying to keep harmful products out of minors' hands. For starters, some of the vaping products and the flavored products are, if there's a vaping ban contemplated, I haven't actually seen what your regulations are proposed, to be honest. And I assume you're in the stage of, you're just talking about the language as opposed to actually submitting them out for comment and review. You're not contemplating enacting them. You're talking about the language of what you're going to propose as regulations, correct?
Right.
Do I have that right?
We have the language here, and we're thinking about voting on it this evening.
Voting on the language that you're going to actually propose, or the actual word regulation?
The actual regulation.
Okay. at it. Echoing, I'm sorry, I don't remember as many of these as Mr. Wilson. What's that?
Echoing with the other 160 towns in Massachusetts that have adopted.
I understand there's a tide coming in the other direction from where I'm heading, but that doesn't change the fact that there are some significant rights of the retailers involved, and they are. It does impact them. The phrase you'll hear regularly is that there's a market basket theory of sales, that if you limit, if you take out a particular product that someone may want, then they're not going to go in, they're not going to buy the milk and the eggs that they'd also buy when they were in there. And one of the things that Dr. Siegel speaks about is that if you enact flavor or vaping bans, that people that are trying to wean themselves off of combustible cigarettes will, if it's more complicated to get vaping products, may slip and go back into combustible cigarettes, which I think the consensus is that the combustible cigarettes are more harmful than vaping products. I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm not here to claim that vaping products are healthy.
No, I know.
But it's a way of weaning people off of combustible cigarettes, and it has some effectiveness to it. American Cancer Society, Dr. Siegel refers to.
Okay,
Again, I understand, I'm not here to tell you it's a healthy product.
yeah.
You know what I mean? What I'm here to tell you is that, per Dr. Siegel, there's a perception and supported by American Cancer Society, for instance, that it's less harmful, vaping products than, combustible cigarettes. And so making it complicated to get vaping products while making it easier to get combustible, without making it more difficult to get combustible cigarettes is counterproductive.
Okay.
And I think it's things like that should be considered when you're doing the regulation. And again, we come back to enforcement. If you're enforcing the regulation, then you're preventing the harm that you're trying to not have happen in the first place. Yeah.
Trying to protect.
And there's also, there's somewhat of a liberty issue here. I mean, the more you inconvenience adults that want to make adult decisions that are legal, you get into the outer edges of the legitimacy of your mandate, I think. An example I like to use in these situations is, one of the things boards of health do is conduct spot checks on restaurants. Because when you sit at a restaurant, you don't know what's going on in the back of the kitchen. You don't know if they clean, if, the rice has been sitting there for months and it's, not sanitary. But anyone that buys a tobacco product, vaping product, is made painfully aware by federal law about what's in there. You know what I mean? And so, you need to protect the people at the restaurants, but with respect to, kind of products you're talking about regulating here, they know what's in it. You know what I mean? Painfully aware. The government makes them. The manufacturers make them painfully aware what's in there. So I think you start regulating things like this and you get into the outer edges of the legitimacy. You know what I mean? Because it is restricting freedom of people, adults, to make adult choices. Member of the Acton board, who I was before, said that exact same thing. He said, if we're enforcing it, then we're leaving it to adults, and adults get to make adult decisions. It's called freedom.
Correct.
So that's some of the primary points. I'd urge you to read the affidavit of Dr. Siegel. He's not a friend of big tobacco, but he says this isn't the way to do it. And also I'd like you to consider the economic impact on the retailers and
We
focus
really
on
can't.
enforcement.
I mean, we're just focused on public health.
I understand, but it doesn't accomplish the same goal. And also, what I understand is that there's a good compliance rate, at least from the FDA checks. I don't know if you've had local compliance checks in Littleton, but from what I understand from the FDA compliance rates, sting operations, or however you want to call it, when they send in an underage person to see if they can buy tobacco products, the 1 year compliance rate was 100%, and 3 years was 93%. 9 out of 9 attempts in the last year, and over the 3 year period, 25 out of 27 where the underage person was denied. So I think you have a pretty good compliance rate as it sits now, and so,
They try to
They only
make
go
sure
in
that
twice a
they
year.
don't get
What's that?
penalized.
They're only funded, correct, DJ? They're only funded to actually go in and actually make any attempts twice a year.
the FDA?
The local.
Oh, the local, okay. Do you have statistics on that compliance?
I don't have it in front of me. I know we just recently had.
I mean, I have encountered, to be in
compliance.
candor, we've encountered different compliance rates depending on who's conducting it. The FDA's seem to be slightly higher, so for whatever that's worth, so, but the numbers from the FDA is pretty good. So,
So has this made any effect in any town?
it has,
I'm sorry to put you on the spot like that, but.
there's some, in other discussions in front of other boards, they've taken into consideration whether they wanted to
Allow.
wait till that case got resolved
Yeah, yeah.
before proceeding. I mean, there's some logic to that in letting,
Not true?
they've at least considered it.
Is the original policy is the same thing as the federal court tested. You would be in no legal problem doing that.
Okay.
Some
Yeah.
others, they indicated a concern about getting involved before that litigation was involved. Whether that changes their behavior or not is up to them. I haven't had enough of experience in that to tell you whether it's altered the behavior of any other boards. But it was a topic of discussion, I'll acknowledge that.
And what is your name?
Mark Foss, F-O-S-S.
You got a card?
Yes. I assume this goes to you.
Thank you.
She will give us a copy.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very
And
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The school superintendent wasn't able to come, but I think they said,
Yeah, there is a letter. I'll read it from
Right,
Dr. Clenchy.
yeah.
As a superintendent of the Littleton Public Schools, I care deeply about the health and well-being of Littleton's youth. I have learned from Tina Grosowski, project coordinator of the Central Mass Tobacco-Free Community Partnership, that the tobacco industry uses fruit and candy-flavored tobacco products to target young people. The tobacco industry distributes these products at gas stations, convenience stores, corner stores, and other places that youth frequently visit. These products use the same flavors as popular candy and soft drinks to attract young buyers. Young people in many communities are seeing these flavored tobacco products every day in the convenience stores they visit. Over 145 Massachusetts communities have taken steps to remove these products from stores that youth frequent. Other communities have raised the tobacco sales age to 21. Most recently, in the past year, the Fitchburg and Leominster Boards of Health have passed the flavor restriction regulation. I am in support of the Littleton Board of Health's proposed new tobacco regulations raising the tobacco sales age to 21.
Which we did.
The Littleton Board of Health should be commended for its proactive stand in this matter. Sincerely, Dr. Kelly Clenchy.
So the tobacco sales are already up to 21.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
we
we've
did.
changed that
Yeah, we did that.
back in December. Does anyone else want to have any comments?
Raise your hand and state your name.
Do you want to come up here, or?
Do I have to come up there? That's really
You
intimidating.
can stand up.
No, you
tell
don't
me-
have to.
Okay.
your name.
That's like a lot.
Okay.
I have some notes. I'm Carrie Winroth. I live at 50 Bruce Street, and I'm here with my husband, Jim, and some of my friends. And we've been watching the past few Board of Health meetings online on LCTV. And we just wanted to come in and kind of let you know that we were watching and that we are very much in favor of this flavor regulation. I don't know what the right word for it, the ban, or whatever, to get rid of the flavors. Because adults aren't coming in saying, I want a mango jewel. Get me off these Marlboro Reds. I need creme brulee. It's our kids. It's my middle schooler. It's my high schooler. They're doing it all over the high school, all over. They do it in the bathroom. They do it in the classroom. teachers have no idea what these things look like. I don't want to rat them out, this is on TV, but I have it on very good.
No names.
Yeah, I know. I'm not going to mention any names. Sorry, kids. These little pod things have fallen to the ground out of kids' pockets or whatever, and teachers have picked them up and handed them to the kid because they look like thumb drives, because that's what they look like. Because, you know, grown-ups can smoke things that look like cigarettes, and no one really bats an eye other than like, oh, that's awful habit. But the kids have to sneak all this stuff, so that's what they're doing. That's why these pods look like they look. It's not because people are trying to get off their two-pack-a-day Marlboro habit. And the kids are buying these locally. They are. I know they are. I asked them where they get them. They're getting them in Littleton. They're also getting them other places, but they're getting them in Littleton.
Are they young? Are they young kids?
Under
they are
21?
minors under 21?
Oh, yes.
So in other words, even if we put 21 and somebody can get in Littleton, but the question is, if
100% positive.
if we find out,
I could have my kid go.
the question is, let's say if somebody
Not gonna do
here,
that, but-
without mentioning any name, as a store, and he has the product, and if he sells it himself, he should be penalized. The question is, sometimes being the owner of the store, some kids might come and get it from somebody else. That's what I'm trying to say. Should we condemn the person that sells it, not the owner, because the owner just trusts the individual that works for him?
The person that sells it versus the owner, that's not my decision to make.
Right.
My problem is that I have a high school kid that can walk into a downtown
Store.
Littleton store
And they can get it.
and they can get it, boom, done.
But that is
They
nice,
can't.
thank you for telling us, because if we find out which store that, the Board of Health has also, not only we penalize them with the money-wise, we can take his license away.
The problem is that the sting operations are twice a year. I mean, statistically speaking, what are the chances they're gonna catch this happening? Twice a year? I mean, that's minuscule. Because what's happening is that these kids go into convenience stores, they're getting their Monster Energy drinks, and they're getting their Starbursts and all the other grossness that they consume. And they chit-chat up with the cashiers. And I know the owners have no desire to sell to these owners. I mean, this is their livelihood. The owners aren't doing it. Owners aren't selling my kid anything.
Thank you.
But the other people are. And they chit-chat with the cashiers. They get to be, I don't want to say buddy-buddy, that's not that, they're not that level of friend, but they're a familiar face. And then eventually, the kids have this kind of relationship, if you will, and they can buy them. They can buy them every day.
I can
They do.
understand, I'm so sorry, because we're trying to make sure these kids growing up and grow to be a regular individual, not to get drugged up with some stuff.
They
Next
get-
gonna be, the next way I'm concerned is the other thing, they start with the M, you know what I
They
mean?
start with mango.
And then they start with
Juuls,
the
and
other
next thing
man.
you know, they
So-
are doing the regular tobacco because they don't want to be 22 and smoking
trying to
creme
protect these
brulee. They
kids,
look
I
like an
can't
idiot.
believe
So next thing you know, your kid is back smoking cigarettes. And it's super addictive. And we spent how many years trying to get people off of smoking cigarettes?
Yep, yeah.
And, I mean,
No,
Joe
they-
knows this, I think it was, none of this stuff has been tested. And when I was looking it up, it said how the American Lung Association and several other anti-smoking groups are suing the FDA to begin reviewing the safety and health effects of e-cigarettes immediately, because it has been pushed off. The deadline for manufacturers to submit the safety and health review has been pushed off. So that it hasn't even been submitted. And that's the only reason that Juul said that they would, at some point in time, remove flavored
Yeah. So that-
nicotine things.
When it-
Okay,
I don't
so-
want to wait for Juul.
Okay, so is that your biggest
Concern.
complaint or concern for the flavored tobacco? Do you have any other?
Well, there's a difference between
comments?
flavored tobacco and the nicotine delivery products, too.
Right.
So there's flavored tobacco, and then there's Juul, and flavored Juul.
Oh,
So we don't,
Vaping or-
vaping is different than.
the
That
only
is-
information I have is that all the kids are using the vaping products. And when they use the vaping products, nobody's using tobacco-flavored vaping products. They're using blueberry, chocolate, mango, creme brulee, cherry.
So that's
So you're talking
tobacco
about
and
vaping.
Juul and vaping is
Vaping.
totally
Yeah,
different.
They all think
Correct.
smoking cigarettes is disgusting. Nobody would dare put an actual combustible cigarette to their lips, but give them mango all day long.
So do you want to
Yeah.
answer the vaping
That
versus?
expanded tobacco definition I talked about would include
Thank
both
you.
traditional tobacco and vaping products. And that conforms with that Providence lawsuit.
But see, no matter what, different flavors, so forth, the question is, even if we say 21, you can't touch cigarette, you can't touch anything else, they're gonna get it, like the young lady says.
I will say, at this point in time, our typical sales regulation has about 30, 40 moving parts to it. If we had the magic bullet to stop it, we'd use it.
I know. It's gonna be too late when you're gonna use that bullet.
And you had a comment also?
Thank you so much for your comment.
Thank you for your time.
Alicia McDonald, Long Lake Road. I just had a few points. I think when we worry about the economic impact of taking these things away from the stores, I think we also need to think about the economic impact of the kids' health and overall impact on, if we've got sick kids and kids that are doing this for years, we're going to pay the price for it later anyway. And I think we really need to think about that. And I read an article recently that said that 40% of high school seniors are now vaping. That was a CNN article. And another CNN article said that half of the vape shops are not IDing kids. So, and I would echo what Carrie said, that all the kids in the high school and middle school have easy access to this. And you can see that very easily just by looking at social media and seeing what these kids are doing. They're not afraid to put it all right out there. And
Not even 21, as they still do.
and I think you would talk to any teacher or school nurse or health teacher, and you're going to see that everyone agrees with that in the town. So I think that we really need to do the best that we can to protect kids from that.
I agree with you. Thank you for your comment. How do you avoid this when the state allow this to do? Oh, well, higher the rate of his age, yeah. From 14 now to 21. They still get it. They want to get something, they get the liquor, they get the drugs, they get the whatever, the cigarette they want to get, with the puff and different flavors. I puff them all right, the Italian way. I give them a kick in the butt. Catch them.
Does anyone else
Gets
have
me
any
nervous.
comments?
Gets me nervous. All for money, I can't believe it. That's my comment.
Wants us to mention.
We'll do what we
that
can, I guess, huh?
Oh, is this for Little, this is Emerson. This is
That's the
youth-
Littleton one that
Youth risk behavior
we
survey.
got for the last meeting.
Thank you.
Okay.
So I guess, do we have, I know that Acton and Westford have vaping stores. Is that anything that we're talking about
Those
here?
are 21 over though, right?
Yeah,
Right,
no, I
so-
know that, but we have no distinction. We have vaping and tobacco being sold, and our merchants are selling all that. Okay.
So if you put this in place, only smoking bars, which are hookah bars and cigar bars, and I know you don't have either, and retail tobacco stores that qualify would be able to be exempt from the policy. And a retail tobacco store could come into the town, or an existing store could change their business plan to fit into that definition.
Okay, so this graph here shows that from data from 2016 and 2018, that as the kids in sixth grade, there's a 1% in both 2016 and 18 of use of e-cigarettes. And in eighth grade, it's 8% in 2016, 9% in 2018, and as you go up, it does get higher. So by the 12th grade, there are 19% of 2016, 34% in 2018. For the total high school, 12% in 2016 and 28% in 2018.
It's doubled.
And this is self-reported, anonymous, you know.
Right.
So this is actual Littleton.
This is Littleton
data?
telling, completing a
Littleton
questionnaire.
kids filling out a survey.
Yeah.
Have we allowed this?
So it is going up.
Well, if we don't do it, they're gonna do underneath anyway. They're gonna get the drugs, they're gonna get this, they're gonna get the liquor, no matter what kind of restriction you put into it.
Okay, so,
So, I think we have some, I mean, this affidavit, I think we.
should read
We
that.
should read that.
and,
I'd like to
Questions?
make a motion, if that's all right.
sure.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt, as written here on the checklist for policy decisions, items 1 through 3, 5 through 9, 11, and 16 through 18, as written. And yes.
Should we wait for Mike to be here, or do you think, I mean, because I know
1
he's got
through
an
3,
opinion.
Cessation, include minimum cigarette. I'm not okay with passing number 1 myself right now, because I would like to read the new information given to us, just to be fair and get the other side.
That's fine.
Shall we go item by item? Do you want to vote on the second, include cessation sign requirement? Does anyone want
Yeah,
to
no.
make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to pass it to,
Include number 2.
Include number 2.
Sign requirement,
Yeah.
okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So do you want to vote on that, Gino?
I guess we, like I say, you put in restriction 21, and then they can do it no matter what kind of age. I say aye, what are you gonna do? I really like eliminate everything. Sorry about that, my friend. You should be in this business. You should be selling chocolate, real chocolate. Oh, dear Lord, I can't believe it.
Okay, so we're going to say yes. We're voting for number 2 to be yes.
Yep.
Okay, for number 3, include minimum cigar package size and price. Someone want to make a motion on that one? Well, Kevin already did.
I'll make a motion to include that as a yes.
I'll second.
Okay, I will also be in favor of that, so number 3
Aye.
is aye. Then we go to number 5, no permit renewal if 3 sales to under MLSA.
Right,
That was part of your motion.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to include that, yes.
include that. Right.
I'll second that.
Okay, I'll also agree, aye,
Aye.
on number 5.
Yeah.
Number 6, cap and/or reduce number of permits.
Yeah, reduce the number.
I'll make a motion to cap them.
Cap,
Right.
I agree with cap.
For many,
Yeah.
Keep it at 7, or how many we have, that's.
Keep it at the-
We keep it
the
what we have
number
now.
now.
than what we have now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay, we'll cap it,
Okay, so number
7.
6
Yep.
was aye, I mean,
Aye.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No sales within 500 feet of a school.
Right.
I'd like to make
No
a
new
motion
sales.
to approve that, no sales within 500
Yeah.
feet of a
That's
school.
the state.
Yes.
But you can't.
No,
can't-
the second, number 8 is no new permits within 500 feet.
I thought
an
DJ
existing-
said number 7 was.
7 and 8 would just deal with new retail.
Oh, I'm
Okay.
sorry, okay. So Kevin is aye,
Yeah.
Lisa?
I'll second.
Okay, I agree also. Number 8, no new permits within 500 feet of an existing permit.
Yep.
Kevin is
I'm aye.
aye.
Yeah.
Lisa?
I'll second.
I agree also.
Yeah.
Restrict flavored tobacco products. I think we need to read the data, so we'll hold on number 1 and number 9 so
Right,
far.
Right.
Ban blunt wraps, number 11.
Yes.
Kevin votes yes. Lisa?
I'll second.
And I vote yes also. Ban non-residential roll-your-own machines, number 16.
Yes.
Kevin votes yes.
I'll
Lisa?
second.
I agree with that. I vote yes also. Ban tobacco product sales in healthcare institutions.
I'll
Kevin
second.
says yes,
Yes.
Lisa says yes, I'm a yes also. Ban tobacco products in sales educations, number 18.
Yes.
Okay.
Kevin's yes, Lisa?
Second.
Yes, I'm a yes also. Okay, that's,
And number 22, changing to shall.
To shall, from may to shall.
all right. Kevin?
Yes.
Yes.
Shall.
Lisa?
Second.
Okay, I agree also. So we have two outstanding items that need further discussion. Okay.
Do you want to give DJ a chance to comment on?
Do you want to comment
Do you have
on
any-
1 and 9 for us? So maybe
Or
we
give us a
can,
little bit more information.
maybe we can wrap it up.
Sure. If you have the draft right in front of you, you can see the expanded definition. Page 7.
I don't have it.
I got it right here.
Page what?
7.
That's just tobacco product. So would you like me to read this definition?
That'd be great.
Definition of tobacco product: any product containing, made, or derived from tobacco or nicotine that is intended for human consumption, whether smoked, chewed, absorbed, dissolved, inhaled, snorted, sniffed, and ingested by any other means, including but not limited to cigarettes, cigars, little cigars, chewing tobacco, pipe tobacco, snuff, or electronic cigarettes, electronic cigars, electronic pipes, electronic hookah, liquid nicotine, e-liquids, or other similar products, regardless of nicotine content, that rely on vaporization or aerosolization. Tobacco product includes any component or part of a tobacco product. Tobacco product does not include any part that has been approved by the United States Food and Drug Administration either as tobacco use cessation product or for other medical purposes, which is being marketed and sold or prescribed solely for the approved purpose.
So if I can make one comment about the definition. So this is the definition that's in the new state law, except for, we did include here regardless of nicotine content. It is often the case that it's difficult to tell if something that is being sold as a tobacco product or a vaping product has nicotine in it or not, even if it says 0 nicotine. So we added that phrase, regardless of nicotine content, which we pulled from the Attorney General's regulations on vaping.
Where'd you add that?
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, line 5.
After aerosolization?
Before it, regardless of nicotine content.
Right.
Oh, there it is, okay.
I mean, it makes it kind of a misnomer when you're including a tobacco definition, something that has 0 tobacco in it. I mean, I can understand the desire to regulate that product, but it is something of a misnomer to refer to as a tobacco product when it has no connection whatsoever to tobacco.
Well, I think vaping has not been clearly defined in the ingredients that are in it, so kind
And I
of,
should also note that that has not come up in any of the lawsuits, four of which I believe are Fletcher Tilton lawsuits. That has not come up as an issue.
that statement.
A lot of stuff.
I mean, I'd like to make a motion to accept the new definition of tobacco products as stated.
Lisa, are you ready to vote
Yeah,
on it, or do you
yeah.
want to discuss it more?
No, I'll
I'm
second that.
ready. You second,
I'll
I
second
will
Kevin's
agree with it
motion.
also. So that's going to be a yes for number 1.
And
We
then
just have number 9
just
left.
the number 9, so it just says sale or flavored tobacco products prohibited. No person shall sell or distribute or cause to be sold or distributed any flavored tobacco product except in smoking bars and adult-only retail tobacco stores. It's
Is
on-
that in
it's on
here
page
somewhere?
10.
10?
10, letter G. So I'd like to make a motion to go ahead and accept number 9, restricting flavored tobacco products as stated.
Lisa?
I'm not gonna vote for that.
I'm really torn on this issue. I understand both sides,
Yeah.
and
But again, I think like what you've said, you're 21, you can drink alcohol, you can buy marijuana, you
Yep.
can smoke cigarettes. You should be able to buy a flavored tobacco if you want. And that it's not up to us, it's up to the merchants to regulate who buys it.
It's up their own.
so Gino,
feeling.
you're the type, well, you're not a type. So right now, I feel like I'm going to vote no on this also. You're a yes, Lisa?
No.
No, I'm a no. Gino?
No, number, the G you're talking about, right? Sell flavored tobacco product.
So if you say no, that means you agree that flavored products can be sold.
Well, everybody is gonna be able to buy a 21 anyway. You know, they can't prohibit.
I mean, it's not,
The question
we
is-
can,
I mean, you can go to a store and get it.
Yeah, you
Just
can
you
go to the
can't.
store and get it. I mean,
You have to be
me
21 and
personally,
over to
I would
get in
not
the
buy it.
store.
I'm sorry, Kevin, what
You
did you
can
say?
go to a store and get it, you just have to be 21 and over to go into a
Right.
store.
Right.
I would like to.
I don't want to ban it.
For 21-year-olds.
Right. For adults.
None of this is a
Okay.
ban.
You're just
None of this is a
saying where it can
ban.
be
It's a
sold.
restriction to adult-only retail tobacco stores or smoking bars.
If you don't have any in the town, it's essentially a ban.
A current business could change their business plan and decide to do so.
You bring other businesses in that are gonna be smoking bars, whatever you call them, then you bring other businesses in.
Liquor stores.
Liquor stores don't qualify as a retail tobacco store because it has to be the sale of everything else is incidental, and liquor is not incidental in a liquor store. Gas is not incidental in a gas station. Groceries aren't incidental in a grocery store. So the aim here is to have a real specialty shop, like an old-fashioned tobacconist, a specialty shop where the person who actually, if he, on the way home from work, wants to stop and get a grape cigar, a mango jewel, and a dozen eggs, they have to make 2 stops. The specialty shop won't be able to sell the dozen eggs.
Now,
So like Westford has a vaping shop.
Yeah, so is Acton.
As long as it's 21.
Yeah.
All the towns around us.
Dirty business.
Okay, so,
If a person's 21, he can go and buy it, like you said.
okay,
You know?
so that's 3-1. So no.
You want to continue this until you guys have a chance to read more about it or think more about it?
I'm fine with that, but,
Yeah.
and I think Mike has a, I mean, if we have a quorum too.
We can,
A bigger
Yeah.
group, so.
we can wait for Mike if you want.
Yeah, we can. Why
Well,
don't we wait for that?
okay.
Continue the discussion.
So we can put all that other stuff in and just continue number 9.
Right. Wait, we can think about it.
Okay. All right, I guess that's it for tonight.
So that'll be continued for August 27th at
I better keep this.
7:20.
Make sure you get them smooth.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying, Gino. Trying. That's why I'm here. All right? Trying. You got to give me a little help here.
I will help you. You give him a slap and give him a kick in the back.
Oh,
So,
When you
yes,
get
so.
to smoke.
we want to make a
So let-
motion to adjourn?
Marijuana or this or that.
Oh, can I have you sign this first?
Yeah, one permit. so-
Sorry.
North Street?
Yep.
Did they leave?
I help you.
All but the one piece, so you guys can come back on the 27th of August.
I got it. Thank you.
Thank you, DJ.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming, thank you for your support.
Thank you.
See you on the 27th.
See you the 27th.
God
We'll
bless.
we'll find out more about why surrounding towns don't do it. Maybe if
You know
have that
something, if you find
information,
out the store,
I know the store.
honey, don't tell me.
I know the store. It's
Honey, don't tell me, go tell the police.
I'm over 21. I can go get it. But I mean, I know the stores that the kids can go into. I know which clerks do it. Oh, please. You know, then that clerk gets fired and then a new clerk comes in. And we do the same dance all over again.
I know, honey. Thank you. You're only trying to protect these kids.
Well, you're not, because you voted no. So you're not.
Not yet, we haven't.
We continued
I mean,
it.
I'm sorry,
We continued it.
Okay.
Okay.
They're
It
gonna-
can be changed down the road, doesn't mean.
I don't like that at all. The question is, the law, I'm gonna admit it, 21, they can do it.
21-year-old people aren't doing
Make a
it.
motion to
I
adjourn?
swear, look at the research, they're not doing it. There's no.
Okay, we have one motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, meeting adjourned.
Have a good night.
Sorry.
Thank you.